series in which we directly compare photos we take in the hood and the suburbs. We all know that the hood and the suburbs are different in many ways, but how do they compare? There's been a lot of stereotypical ideas of what the hood is like and what people from the hood are like. The hood is more of a sense of community and people and a culture, and just because something's in the hood doesn't mean that it's run down, ghetto, or unsafe. By making myself uncomfortable and exploring places that I'm not completely familiar with in both the hood and the suburbs, I hope to change people's minds of what they may have thought before, meet people, and learn a few things myself. But in every episode, I want to focus on one particular thing and compare that directly. And in this episode, we're comparing houses and neighborhood. Welcome, YouTube, to episode 1 of The Hood versus the Suburbs. So Detroit is a massive city. The city of Detroit is so big that it can fit the cities of Manhattan, San Francisco, and Boston all within Detroit. There are also smaller suburban cities surrounding Detroit like Livonia, Farmington Hills, Allen Park, Dearborn, and many other cities, and we call this Metro Detroit. So that means there's a good amount of hoods and suburbs that we can visit throughout this series. So in today's episode, we're starting off on the southwestern side of Detroit. We're on West Grand Boulevard, where they have very big 2-family flat styled homes. I grew up in a 2-family flat, so I wanted to come over here and kind of relive those memories and capture the vibes over here. A lot of things over here are kind of run down and no longer, up and running. So I also wanted to capture some of that, which I will talk a little bit more about as we go through this process. So let's just get straight to it. Starting off in the hood and taking pictures here. All right, so let's get to it. The Grand Boulevard is home to many historic places such as Lee Plaza, Motown Records, Henry Ford's Hospital, the Fisher Building, and it even wraps all the way down to Belle Isle. So as early as 1876, Detroiters were made aware of the efforts of Baron Haussmann, a French official whose job it was to carry out a massive urban renewal program by building boulevards, parks, public works in Paris. The citizens of Detroit proposed adopting Haussmann's concept by surrounding Detroit with its own Grand Boulevard. So although this sounds like an amazing idea for any city to accept and get behind, Detroit was like, yeah, we'll wait on that. So finally in 1891, almost 20 years later, the mayor of Detroit supported the idea and broke ground on the construction of the Grand Boulevard. And by 1913, the Grand Boulevard was completed, encircling the centralmost and oldest portion of the city. And if you want to read more about the history of the Grand Boulevard, it will be linked in the description. What is it? Q? Nice to meet you, man. My name. Yeah, you from around here?
Yeah.
You live around here like your whole life?
Yeah.
How you like it?
It should be up to date, like it's supposed to be.
Right, yeah.
Through the grace, we'll come together, one day.
Definitely.
We got a lot of issues,
Yeah, it is what it is.
Yeah, it is what it is.
But community, at least you got the community, you know what I'm saying?
It'll come back, they trying to be or not, though.
Right.
They got a lot of people moving in.
Yeah.
Moving out,
Yeah. Are they
got a coronavirus out here, that ain't making it no better.
No better, yeah.
It's everywhere, though,
Are they renovating anything around here?
Well, they trying, though. They trying.
Yeah. I feel it.
What I do is how I do it.
Right. Definitely, man. It's not what I do, but how I do it. An attitude adopted by a lot of, if not all of, Detroiters. So after talking with Q for about 15 to 20 minutes, he reminded me that the Grand Boulevard not only holds a lot of history for Detroiters, but it holds a lot of personal history for me and my family. All right, 1, 2, 3. Thank you, Q. Man, it's good to meet you, man. I'll definitely see you around.
All right.
Definitely. By the grace of God. Definitely. My dad attended and played football at Northwestern High School, located right on the Grand Boulevard. He grew up, hung out, and visited a lot of the places on the Grand Boulevard. Earlier this year, I was able to photograph my dad in his favorite place to hang out, which is located right on the Grand Boulevard in Rosa Parks. These photos mean a lot more to me than just a photo of my dad in a park, because I remember my dad bringing me to this park as a kid, and I remember being so irritated and just so uninterested in being at this place when I was a kid. But now that I go back as an adult, it reminds me of my childhood and reminds me that this place isn't just a hangout spot. It's history. So one thing I do love about taking pictures in the hood is, like, for one, I'm not from this area. I didn't grow up over here, but so I don't know anybody over here. I didn't know either of those guys that I just met. Inevitably run into people who want to talk to you because you have a camera, know what you're doing, like know what's going on, and just you have these conversations and you meet people that you would have never met, and like just learn stories that you never would have heard without walking around and just like having a camera and doing essentially what I'm doing. So that's one of my favorite parts about walking around the hood with the camera. I never really feel unsafe or out of place. It's always just like it's always love every single time I talk to anybody from these areas. Also, another thing that I love about the hood is that like people just park their cars on the grass. Like this is a wild scene. It's hard to say what exactly caused the downfall of the Grand Boulevard. From the white flight, the depression, Detroit's lack of good leadership over the years, the Grand Boulevard, which was once a sign of wealth, is now a sign of Detroit's decay. What we explore today isn't even a fraction of what the Grand Boulevard has to offer, so we will be revisiting the Grand Boulevard in episodes to come. So we continue this journey in Lincoln Park, Michigan, a Wayne County city that stretches for about 6 miles. So Lincoln Park is considered to be a part of Downriver, which is a collection of communities within Metro Detroit, like Allen Park, Melvindale, Southgate, Wyandotte, and Ecorse. Lincoln Park was originally a part of Ecorse Township, which no longer exists, incorporating as a village in 1921 and again as a city in 1925. Lincoln Park contains Council Point Park, which dates all the way back to 1763. Aggravated with the increase of European settlers, Chief Pontiac met with other tribal leaders along the Ecorse River to plan a rebellion, specifically against those in nearby Fort Detroit, while eventually surrendering the land in 1776. It developed as a bedroom community, providing homes to workers in the nearby steel mills and automobile plants of Detroit, while also having industries of its own. we're gonna walk around here, take some pictures of suburbs, suburban living. You know, you got festivities. There, show them the festivities. You know what I'm saying? Halloween's among us, so you know, just a 100% different vibe than what we just came from, right? So, and I don't necessarily feel more comfortable. I just feel different. I actually felt more comfortable over there, if I'm being honest, but hey, here we are. Are you recording? Look how both these cars over here match the house. Bro, and it's the same car. This is like epitome of like suburban living right there, bro. I gotta get a picture of that house. Yeah, 100%. So something I never really cared for when photographing suburbs is the inability the suburbs have to be different. And not to say that all suburbs are the same, but certain suburbs have no change within that suburb. I don't know what that means for real. Mosquito-y over here. It just feels crazy because like, I mean, even like the streets are different, the street signs are different. Here, I'm gonna take a picture of the street sign. That's not like the greatest picture ever, but needed to be done. Like, just living is all around different, regardless of how you put it. The way you live is different. The things you believe in are different for the most part, sometimes depending on who you're talking to. And then like, just like, I don't know, man. But it's interesting to like finally get a chance to compare the two in a way. Because I've been wanting to for a minute. Very quiet over here. It's more people outside. It's more just like, I don't know, things going on, I feel. Oh my God. If I was to fall in this water, I'd be so mad. Where did my balance go, bro? I used to be like super balanced, man. So I personally have a hard time finding inspiration when trying to shoot in the suburbs. But I am excited to be doing this series because it's forcing me to make uncomfortable decisions and to step out of my comfort zone and try to see things in a different light. What I do like about Lincoln Park is that a lot of the things down here seem pretty much unchanged. There's really no big fancy houses or big fancy businesses. So when comparing the hood and the suburbs, you have to take into account that neither is better than the other. Both of these places have history and things that make them unique and all of their own. The Grand Boulevard living up to its name, having homes and businesses that are grand. Lincoln Park is like most American suburbs. It's quiet with a uniqueness that only people from this area can understand. Lincoln Park is like most small American suburbs, with either 1 or 2 story homes, businesses that have been around for years, and the small things that make people enjoy the small town living of a suburban place. Although no longer a sign of what it once was, the Grand Boulevard still holds a special place in many people's heart. The city of Detroit has lost so much over the years, but one thing it hasn't lost is its soul and identity. Although desolate, the Grand Boulevard area that I explored felt very welcoming, and I personally find beauty in the hood and things that come with the hood, because behind all of that destruction, there's stories and there's history to be told. And with Lincoln Park, although walking around somewhere that most would consider a nice place, I felt a little bit out of place. And although I didn't talk to anyone directly, I did feel like I was being watched. Either way, my personal experience doesn't take away or add to either of these places. It's just my personal experience. I'm walking into all of these episodes with an unbiased eye and open to learning and shooting. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I'll catch y'all in the next one.